Today, we're going to dive deep into the raw, unfiltered soul of a true legend, Janis Joplin. But hold on, this isn't your average biography, not even close. We're actually stepping into a pretty wild, imaginative world where her spirit gets called back for one last, incredible conversation about what made her art so powerful. I mean, just think about it. What if you could actually sit down with one of your heroes? Not to talk about their fame or, the headlines, but to ask them about the source of their fire. That wild, untamable energy that just completely changed the game. So that's exactly what we're doing. We're jumping into this specially constructed dream space to try and understand the soul behind one of the most iconic voices in music history. All right, let's start the summoning. So how does this all happen? Well, our guide for this whole experience is a character named Charles Farrington, and he has this really unique method called the invocation dream spell. And let me tell you, this isn't some hazy, half-remembered dream. Nope, this is a full-on ritual with rules. Listen to these words, you can almost feel the mystical vibe, right? This isn't about conjuring a ghost in a spooky way. It's more like a respectful invitation, a way for two minds to meet in this shared, dreamed-up place. And you might think this is all just waving wands and magic words, but it's actually got a really clear structure. First, you need an anchor, something physical, in this case, a beaded necklace that belonged to her. Then you need a stable location, the summoning room. And finally, you have the incantation. It gives a kind of cool logic to this whole fantastical idea. Okay, but here's the catch, and it's a big one. The second Janis appears, an hourglass gets flipped. The sand starts pouring through, and that means the clock is ticking, literally. Every single word matters, because their time together is already running out. And this is where things get really interesting. Just picture the clash of these two worlds. On one hand, you've got the summoning room, all quiet, formal, and elegant. And on the other, you've got Janis's world, the chaos, the sweat, the raw electric energy of the stage. She's yanked out of her natural habitat and dropped into this one, and you can just feel the culture shock. And then, boom, she's there. And her first words, they're pure, uncut Janis. Raspy, totally authentic, and completely unfazed. She isn't scared or confused. She's just curious. You know right away that this is the real deal, her true spirit. All right, so she's here. Now what? Well, this is where we get to the real meat of it. Charles can finally ask the question at the heart of this whole thing. Where did that power in her voice really come from? So Charles asks her a question that, I think every fan has wondered. He asks her what she was trying to express. But her answer? Whoa, it is not what you'd expect at all. Think about that for a second. For her, it wasn't a performance. It wasn't about translating a feeling into a song. The feeling was the song. It was a direct pipeline from her soul to her voice. All the joy, the heartbreak, the pain, it all just came pouring out, completely unfiltered. I mean, this quote right here, this is her entire manifesto. To Janis, music wasn't some abstract thing. It was just the sound of being human. It was life itself. And if you weren't feeling it deep down in your bones, then what was the point? You weren't really singing. So if singing was all about this pure, raw feeling, you gotta wonder, where does the audience fit into all that? I mean, we all know how legendary her live shows were. And it turns out, it was never a one-way street. She wasn't just blasting her feelings out into a void. It was a two-way connection. It was like a feedback loop of pure energy between her and every single person in that room. And this is the heartbreaker right here. She just lays it all out. That connection, that wild exchange of energy with the crowd, for her, it was an antidote to loneliness. On that stage, under those lights, she wasn't just performing. She was part of this huge shared experience of pure love. That's what she was chasing. Now, obviously, we can't talk about Janis without talking about what a total trailblazer she was for women in rock. I mean, she completely shattered the mold. But the way she saw it, it's pretty fascinating. The thing is, she never set out to be a role model or a feminist icon. She wasn't trying to be a revolutionary. She was just trying to be Janis. She wanted to sing the music she loved, and the world back then just wasn't ready for a woman that raw and that real. The doors just kind of got kicked down because they were in her way. What I love about this is how humble it is. There's zero ego here. She didn't see herself as some movement leader. She just saw the simple, beautiful power of her own example. that maybe, just maybe, some other girl would hear her and feel brave enough to find her own voice too. And just like that, you can see the last grains of sand falling. The dream is coming to an end, the connection is fading. But before she goes, she leaves us with one final powerful piece of wisdom from the Queen of Psychedelic Soul. And man, this is it. This is her whole philosophy, her whole life, all rolled into one incredible line. It's a call to action, really. Don't let the world and its rules make you small or quiet you down. Find that truth that's deep inside you and sing it, scream it, live it, loud. So in the end, she flips the whole thing right back on us. It's not just about her story, it's about yours. It makes you ask yourself, what is my truth? What's that real, honest thing that defines me? And am I brave enough to let the world hear it?